we kindle this symbol of our community of faith for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment.
Good morning. I'm LB, your Director of Music and Worship Arts. I use the pronouns he, him, and his. And as always, please participate in the way that works best for you, whether it's standing or sitting, singing, concentrating, dancing in the aisles. It's all good here. We begin this morning a service of love by Answering the Call of Love. This is by UU composer Jason Shelton. He originally composed it many, many years ago with the words standing on the side of love, decided, one, that was too ableist, and two, that was too passive. So he changed the words, and now we sing, we are answering the call of love. Please join together. The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greater Lansing. Whether this is your first or second time here or your 1000th, you are welcome here. Our senior minister, Reverend Neil Anderson, is on sabbatical through January. My name is Sonya Schryer Norris, and my pronouns are she and her, and I am your worship associate for this morning. This month's theme is cultivating compassion. A part of our community, and undoubtedly some visitors, maybe some lurkers even, are watching from home. So let's give them a big friendly wave, because it is good to be in community. The camera's behind us. We acknowledge that we occupy the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe people. This church where we gather today sits on land ceded in the 1819 Treaty of Saginaw. Let us show our respect with collective care born of conscientious conservation. We share our values with one another by listening with empathy and speaking with kindness that is friendly, generous, and considerate. We share our values with the wider world by welcoming families and individuals who come in for lunch prepared by the Southside Community Kitchen, and sharing space in this building with clients of the Refugee Development Center. And if you haven't been to church in the middle of the week in a while, you should see this place hopping. I really recommend come by and see how well this space is being utilized to help serve a portion of our community. So I've got some announcements. Our pledge drive is winding up. Thank you to all of you who have pledged. We want to hear from everyone, even if you cannot make a financial contribution. They just kind of need to know so they know the budget. A follow-up email was sent last week from Congregational Administrator Catherine Patton, and next week we'll be calling those who haven't turned in a pledge. If you would like to get an information packet, ask questions, or turn in paper pledges, visit the pledge table in the social hall during coffee hour. And I know I scowled a little bit at the phone calls, but that's what I did for years, is make the phone calls. And so if you can make phone calls, let the pledge team know, because they probably need people to make phone calls. There's a new to UU class that is happening on November 2nd, and the sign up is in the lobby after service. So if you are interested in the Welcome to UU class, it's one day or one night, and it's one afternoon. It's right after church. And it is what really brought me into this congregation. Those classes are wonderful. So I recommend, if you have any interest, check them out. Notice about the restrooms. The Memorial Garden lobby restrooms are still closed, but the atrium and the restrooms across from the Chapin Hall are open. And if you haven't been down to the Chapin Hall side to check them out, they're really big. The bathrooms are really big down there. So we invite you to stay and join us for coffee and snacks after the service. Let's take a moment now to greet neighbors and guests, new faces, and familiar friends.
My name is Carson. I am the Children and Youth Faith Development Coordinator here. I use the pronouns she, her. And and I have a story today called Clara's Big Brave Heart. Today we're exploring how compassion takes the form of moving outside our comfort zone and responding to the needs of others. With that in mind, I'd like to share a story with you about one of our inspiring UU ancestors, who's a wonderful example of brave compassion. This is the story of Clara Barton and how she lived the value of compassion. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Clara who lived on a big farm in North Oxford, Massachusetts. Clara was the youngest of her siblings, and though she was bright and curious, she was also quite shy when away from her family. Clara's family were Universalists, and every Sunday they rode 5 miles in a horse and carriage to their church, which her father helped build. At church, Clara learned a very important truth. Every person has worth and is worthy of care. That idea stayed in her heart. Now, Clara was shy, but when her older brother David was badly hurt in a barn accident, Clara stepped out of her comfort zone. She begged to be his nurse, even though she had never done it before. She stayed by his side for 2 years, helping him eat, stay clean, and feel cared for. It was the first time she realized that compassion often means doing something that scares you because somebody needs you. As Clara grew up, she kept practicing this kind of compassion. When she became a teacher, she took care to include every child, even the rowdy boys who others found difficult. We don't have any rowdy boys here this morning, right? She played ball with them, and she earned their respect. Later, she started a free public school where all children could learn. Boys, girls, rich and poor. It was hard work, and some people didn't like her ideas, but she stood firm. She was learning that compassion means being brave enough to share what you know and believe, even when others disagree. Then came the Civil War. Clara saw that wounded soldiers were not being cared for. Many were cold, hungry, or dying alone. Instead of staying safe and comfortable, Clara loaded up a wagon full of supplies and went right to the battlefield. People told her women don't belong there, but she didn't listen. She cooked, she cleaned wounds, and she sat beside the dying, even when bullets were flying and she was scared. Why? Because Clara knew compassion doesn't always feel safe or easy. Sometimes it's about showing up when others need you most. After the war, Clara helped families find missing soldiers. She used her own money to run an office, wrote letters, and asked people for help, even when she was scared to speak in public. Her bravery led her all the way to Europe, where she learned about the Red Cross. She brought the idea to America and helped start the American Red Cross, an organization that helps people in need to this very day. I love this story of Clara Barton because it shows us that compassion is more than just feeling sorry for someone. It means moving, giving, showing up even when it is scary. She taught us that compassion doesn't just ask us, how much kindness are you willing to give? But also, how much of your comfort are you willing to give up? So kiddos, we are going to go down to our classrooms in a second and continue to celebrate Clara's compassion, and the adults are going to sing us out.
You shall go out with joy and forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. And all the trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands, and you'll go out with joy.
I love that song, man. This month's theme is cultivating compassion. To cultivate is to nurture something meaningful, such as a skill or a personal quality, with intention and care. Compassion is a deep and sympathetic response to the joys, sorrows, and struggles of others. This compassion might be for strangers across the globe facing extraordinary challenges. neighbors here in Lansing navigating daily life, or a friend or family member carrying a heavy load. And compassion must also be for yourself, honoring your own journey with kindness. Compassion is more than just an emotion. It's action and a commitment to see and respond to the struggles of others. Here we stand, a community that proves compassion over time endures. This church and all it offers congregants, as well as the greater Lansing community, was developed with our hands, our hearts, our treasure, through our shared history, and with our noggins. It is evidence of what happens when ordinary people act with purpose. Compassion is also the courage to honor our own pain without letting it close us off. Life can be heavy. Grief, worry, anxiety, depression, or exhaustion can make compassion for others feel like a burden. It's called compassion fatigue. Compassion is not only about the big actions, such as securing food or shelter for people far away, but small, steady choices and the commitment to continue offering compassion locally. Both acts ripple, building a world where justice and care push back steadily against fear and division. And now I would like to honor a longtime friend of UU Lansing, Norma Bauer, who has passed along with a moment of silence. Come, let us worship together. I've also got the next section. It's time for our cherished Touchstones ritual, a moment together, our hearts and intentions. In this ritual, we invite you to take a touchstone, or several, to represent a hope, a sorrow, a joy, or a quiet intention. Release it into the water, letting its ripples carry your purpose into our shared space. This act binds us, not just to the stones or water, but to each other as we witness the energy of this community. Today, I invite you to take an extra touchstone as a symbol of compassion. Let it represent a prayer, a hope, or an act of care, whether for someone far away, someone close, or yourself. As you release your compassion touchstone into the water, let its ripples carry your intention. And if you feel moved, write your joys and sorrows in the books by the columns, and you can choose to share that joy or sorrow with the community in the newsletter. Let's enter this time of ritual with open hearts and a spirit of compassion. I invite you now to come forward as you feel called. And now, LB will drop a few more touchstones for the joys and sorrows of those watching on the live stream or recording, and the joys and sorrows here in the sanctuary that may need just a little extra touchstone love this morning.
Good morning. I'm Pat Quinn. My pronouns are she, her. Our Nia meditation this morning is a mantra, popular mantra from the Hindu tradition. May be familiar to some of you, we've moved to it before. I invite you to sense the music, the sound in your body, and to move in your own body's way, whether you're seated or standing or moving around through the space. You can even come up here and dance with me. I'd love it. Anyway, let's dance.
We give of our time, talents, and wealth to support UU Lansing. In so doing, we remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We also give on Sundays to participate in the wider life of our community. Our special plate collection this month is for the Women's Center of Greater Lansing. The mission of the Women's Center of Greater Lansing is to provide resources in an atmosphere that fosters mutual support, insight, and growth. Undesignated checks and cash contributions today will go to the Women's Center of Greater Lansing to help them in their work. If you wish to donate to the church itself or make a payment on your pledge, please use the envelopes provided on the back of the chair in front of you and specify the intended purpose of your contribution in the memo field of your check. If you prefer, you can also follow the QR code on the screen. We'll keep that QR code up so you have a chance to catch it. You can also donate on our website or mail in a donation to the address on the screen. I invite you to give generously so that those who cannot contribute financially are able to participate just as fully in this beloved community. We give with the faith that, together, we have enough. We will now gratefully receive the morning offering.
morning. My name is Gaillard, and my pronouns are they, them. One day, late in November, I got a call from my estranged mother. We haven't spoken on the phone in years and in person in a decade, not since my first wedding. She said, "Nana is dying." I said, "I'll come at once." And I did. I flew out to Reno and said goodbye to my grandmother. And on the last day of my trip, I talked to my mother about why we don't talk anymore. She said she still loved me. I said I still loved her. But we agreed we can't be together. And some part of me still says she doesn't love me the way I love her. So what is love? The Greeks named several different kinds of love. Among them are eros, or sexual passion, philautia, or love of the self, storge, familial love, and philia, deep friendship. I think those get talked about a lot, though we could always use a refresher on self-love. But what I want to talk about today is agape, love for everyone, love for your fellow person solely based on them being a person. I'm talking about the kind of love Jesus called us to. You have heard it said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. Our faith calls us to put love at the center of all we do, to answer the call of love. So what is agape? What is love? What are we called to feel for our fellow human beings, maybe even for the entire interdependent web of life? It wouldn't be a sermon on love without some bell hooks, so let me quote from her book, All About Love. In it, Bell writes, I spent years searching for a meaningful definition of the word love, and was deeply relieved when I found one in psychiatrist M. Scott Peck's classic self-help book, The Road Less Traveled, first published in 1978. Echoing the work of Erich Fromm, he defines love as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Of course, that just shifts the question from what is love to what is spirituality, another huge topic to tackle. Bell describes it as such. He is referring to that dimension of our core reality where mind, body, and spirit are one. An individual does not need to be a believer in a religion to embrace the idea that there is an animating principle in the self, a life force, some of us call it soul, that when nurtured enhances our capacity to be more fully self-actualized and able to engage in communion with the world around us. Now, in case you're unaware, self-actualization is the psychological drive to realize one's full potential and become everything one is capable of becoming. To love someone, according to Bell Hooks, is to be willing to put yourself out there, to reach out and help someone become their best self. Bell, quoting Peck, continues, love is as love does. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and an action. Will also employs choice. We do not have to love, we choose to love. Jesus calls us to love our enemies. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you, asks Luke. Just think about that for a moment. Love your enemies. Not just people you haven't met, people who voted for Donald Trump. People who want you or your family dead or removed from the country. People who would hurt you, people who would hurt your loved ones, people who would tear down your faith and replace it with something you cannot abide. Love them. How? How can you feel love for someone you also feel hatred for? How can you choose to nurture that which would destroy you? In his book, Contamination, Paul and Billy Hord suggest the answer is to keep to the spirit of love. Loving our enemies means recognizing that when we continue to keep them as enemies, we are playing the same game they are and working against the kingdom of God. True emancipation lies in the hope of transformation for enemies. It provides us an opening for the adversary to join the struggle and absolutely refuses to place the adversary in the position of an enemy. In other words, when you love your enemies, a funny thing happens. You stop having enemies. You stop seeing the world in the grand struggle of us and them. Instead, you have people. Some are adversarial, and you will struggle against them, but never so as to ostracize, marginalize, or oppress them. Struggle is real, pain is real, but joy is also real. The command to love our enemies helps undermine the very system that manufactures enemies. When you look at why people turn to fascism, it's always because of a lack within themselves. A lack of safety, a lack of self-love, a lack of security and confidence. It is my firm belief that nobody is born hating someone, nor are they born thinking they're better or worse than anyone else. They say that hurt people hurt people. To me, that means that the people who do the most harm in society are also deeply wounded children underneath, that they are desperate to love and be loved. How can you help but love a wounded child? I get a lot of inspiration from music. In her best-selling single, Beautiful Stranger, Madonna wrote, "To know you is to love you." I think she was onto something there. The more I know someone, the easier it is to love them. But let's also examine the inverse. Can you love someone you don't know? My mother says she loves me. I don't doubt she feels some affection towards me. She definitely feels all the gooey familial feelings you're supposed to think about, or you're supposed to feel when you think about your kid. But I don't think she loves me. She doesn't know me as a person, as a human being. She believes that I am a lot of things that I am not, such as misguided, under sway of Satan, incorrect about my own lived experiences. She hasn't asked me about my life in years. She thinks she knows me, and in so thinking, she declines to actually get to know me. And I don't think you can love someone you don't know. You can build up a mental image of them in your head, and you can love or hate that mental image, but unless your mental image corresponds with their lived reality, you don't love or hate them, just an idea in your head. You don't really know what's best for them because you don't know who they are. I've never met Donald J. Trump. I don't know the man. I don't know what makes him tick. I don't know how he thinks. I don't know how he feels about himself, about others, about our society. And it's really easy to hate him. He's trying to destroy me and my family and my faith, and everything I hold dear. But to love him, I would need to go deeper into his psyche. I would have to know to some degree what it's like to be Donald J. Trump. And it's my failing that I'm unwilling to do that. Madonna wrote, "To know you is to love you." But I believe the opposite is also true. To love you is to know you. To let go of my preconceived notions of who you are and what you believe, and instead listen intently, deeply, with an open heart and mind to who you really are. And to do that, you have to set aside your ego. You have to be willing to be wrong, to have been wrong about them. Because we all do it, don't we? We all make snap judgments. We all evaluate people based on first impressions. We all think we know each other. And to really know someone, you have to let down that guard, that constant alienation of the other, and be vulnerable. Because you might learn things that hurt you. You might learn things that change you. You might learn that you were wrong on a fundamental level. Unless you're willing to do that, to let the experience change you, then you're not really going to be able to absorb who the other person is, what their lived experience is like. Bell Hooks wrote, "To know love, we have to tell the truth to ourselves and others. Creating a false self to mask fears and insecurities has become so common that many of us forget who we are and what we feel underneath the pretense. Breaking through this detail is always the first step in uncovering our longing to be honest and clear. Not only do we need to break through the masks that we put up and shield ourselves from each other, but we need to be willing to look beyond the masks that others present in order to hide to us. 1 Samuel 16:7b states, "The Lord does not look at the things that people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Jesus calls for us to see each other the way God sees us, as complex individuals, not stereotypes, and essentially, unyieldingly human, not monsters, not the other, but people just like us. There's a moment in a piece of Animorphs fan fiction, and don't worry if you don't understand what that is, it's irrelevant, where the main characters get a chance to look into each other's brains and see what kind of person each other are under all the communication errors and false pretenses. The viewpoint character for the scene, Rachel, describes the experience thus. "I found it incredibly easy to see myself in Garrett and to see Garrett in me, to understand what it was like to be him, why he did the things he did, to imagine myself doing the same in his place. He was no more alien than Jake or Marco had been. In fact, all of them had been normal? No, not normal. Fascinating. Brilliant, riveting, beautiful. I didn't want to admit it because of what it implied about before, about the past, about my whole life up until an hour and a half ago. That I'd basically been writing off the people around me, even the ones I liked, even the ones I trusted. That I'd been summing them up, flattening them out, storing them in my mind as cartoon characters rather than as full, three-dimensional people. I could feel myself shifting into a new sort of reality where other people actually existed as players instead of background characters. People whose incomprehensible behavior wasn't the product of broken or mysterious thinking processes, but of brains that were only a little bit different from mine. I find this moment fascinating because I understand it all too well. Rachel is hard on herself, but I think we all do it to some degree. We see each other as NPCs, as bit parts, as minor players in our own stories, rather than the protagonists of their stories. And we can't love someone truly if we see them that way. My mother is affectionate toward me frequently, but never does she extend herself to nurture my spiritual growth. She seems almost entirely uninterested in learning any single fact about me that doesn't fit her preconceived notion of who I am. Her brilliant, intellectual daughter. The one with so much promise and the one who threw it all away for the temptations of sin. I promised myself as a child that when I grew up I'd be nothing like her, and so I try my best to know people before I judge them. I seek the best in people so I can understand what they need to be self-actualized, to live their best life, and then I put forth the will to support them in that. Despite her abuse towards me when I was a child, I do love my mother. I wish her nothing but peace and spiritual growth. I wish for her to grow beyond the confines of her current rigid, limiting faith, to grow into a place where she can love her enemies as well. There is nothing I, as her child, can do to bring this about, but I deeply, truly desire it for her. To me, that's what being a Universalist is all about. I don't identify as strongly with the Unitarian part, but the Universalist, the idea of universal salvation and the universal goodness of humanity, that resonates really well with me. Obviously, not everyone does good all the time, but on some level, I believe everyone is good, has the potential for great wonder, great joy, great love, and great sorrow, great empathy, and great compassion. That's what it means to be human, to be capable of not just the worst things humanity has to offer, but also the best things. One of my favorite poems is by E.E. Cummings. It is entitled, "Humanity, I Love You." And while it's sarcastic for Cummings, a call to remember that everyone is flawed and capable of great harm, for me it's a sincere statement. I love humanity, even if I can't quite love every human. If I am quick to anger, I am also quick to forgive, because I know what it's like to make mistakes, to be wrong about someone or something. I'm a Universalist, not because everyone needs salvation, but because everyone already has the keys to salvation within us. You may have heard the saying that if you're not a liberal at 20, you have no heart, but if you're not a conservative at 40, you have no head. I believe we UUs are at our best when we have Unitarian heads, but Universalist hearts. When we love everyone, even as we use our minds to decipher the difference between good and evil. When we love the wretched, the flawed, the broken, and yes, even the oppressor. If hatred is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die, love is bathing in healing and sharing it to everyone you meet, even if they don't deserve it, even if they're a terrible person. Hurt people, and everyone deserves to be healed, and so everyone deserves to be loved. I could talk about love all day. It's one of my favorite subjects. Call me sometime and I'd be happy to talk more. I love you. May love bless us, each and every one.
Loving everybody, that is a huge ask. And in my most insecure moments, I wonder if I can do it. But I truly believe that as a human being, I'm hardwired, as are you, hardwired to be able to love. In other words, we got all the love that we need. Hence, the closing hymn today. Please join us together in singing. We got all the love, all that we need to change our world. Hallelujah. We got all the love, all that we need in our hearts.
Can you show it?
Together in our benediction.
Thank you.
Inspired by awe and wonder, we nurture spiritual growth, connect in authentic, loving relationships, and engage in courageous work for peace and justice. Don't forget to join us for coffee in the social hall after worship. And if you go out this way, you will be able to speak to Bay and Sonya and tell them what a great job they did today. Our worship is over. Let our service begin.